Welcome to Power Charting. I'm Bruce Fraser, your host. Today is the big reveal. We have with us special guest, John Colucci, who is the editor of the Wyckoff Market Report. And this is really a brand new publication. And we are going to introduce it today in this episode. And in the introduction, I do want you to know that we are going to go through the market structure as it is right now, using the Wyckoff Market Report as our organizing guide for this exercise. So we are going to be talking in depth about the market, about industry groups, about stocks. And so with that, let me introduce our special guest, good friend, John Colucci. John, thank you for being here.
Well, thank you for having me, Professor. Wonderful as always to be here.
You and I did a great event the other day on Your Daily Five. And so I would like to point people to that so that they can watch it. But how I want to do that is to let everybody know that I've just posted a new blog article yesterday afternoon, Wyckoff Power Charting. I'll show you how to get there in just a sec. And this is really a continuation of the discussion we had on Monday on Your Daily Five, where we talked about whether or not the structure that we're in, as you can see here, is a distributional structure or reaccumulation, or we're going to get potentially, let's say, a bear market rally upward into resistance levels above this area. So I want to thank you for being involved in that with me, John. I thought it was a great episode.
It was wonderful.
Now, if you go to the bottom of this blog post, you will see a link to that video event. And so just click on it. You can watch it right in the body of the blog, or you can move over to YouTube and watch it if you'd like. And then here's how to get to my blogs is, and let me just show you one other thing, getting ahead of myself, is that I have included additional readings of prior blogs that I have written in the past. And here are the links, two on reaccumulation structures and one on distribution. And I think you'll find it worthwhile to review those. So you just click on them and you'll be right there. Now, to get to the articles or my blog articles, just go to articles here, go over to all StockCharts blogs, and you can see it's actually on the latest news page right there, but go down to Wyckoff Power Charting and you can open up the list and then go to blog archives at the top here. And it takes you to, by calendar, to all of the articles that have been written back to when I started these back in 2015. So anything you can think to add here, John, as we move on?
No, I think you've done so many of these and they're so well read. I bet you I could ask Alexa for your blogs and I'd get it.
Well, I have a blast doing them. I really enjoy putting these together for our community, for our Wyckoffian friends, and I hope you really enjoy them. Go back and look at the history of them. I like to go back and look and see different market environments through the blog. So anyway, check it out. And with that, we are about to look at the Wyckoff Market Report. So just hold on. What I'm really excited about with the Wyckoff Market Report, which by the way, has been a labor of love for John, and he'll tell us more about how he's put it together and assembled it. But what really is valuable to me is the letter is designed in a way that I like to organize and think about the market. Now, I think a lot of other people do too. I'll tell you why. And that is because it's a top-down orientation. And this is the way I've been really deconstructing the stock market for, gosh, decades. And That is top down, starting with industry or with indexes, then going to sectors, then to industry groups, and then to stocks. And so I just think that is absolutely the best way to find the very best ideas. It certainly works for me. The beauty of it is that John has created a newsletter that basically does this and does it in a way that is very organized and efficient. And he's going to show us this now. And so, John, I'm so excited to not only to be able to reveal your incredible work to everybody, but also to have the ability to use it myself and be able to get my eyeballs onto the best ideas even more quickly than I did in the past. Tell us what you're doing here, John.
Well, thanks so much, Professor. We can't discount the importance of Professor Bruce and Professor Roman's contributions to the project, because they are the intellectual wellspring for all things Wyckoff. These are the folks, anything I know from them. So with that introduction, let's talk about the Wyckoff Market Report. This is a once weekly report. It'll be published on Fridays, give you an opportunity over the weekend to take a look at it. And the idea really is, as Professor Bruce described, is let's start with the big picture and work our way down. Now we'll go through the document rapidly just to show you what's in it, familiarize yourself with the landscape. Here in the first page.
Well, and also the functionality of it, John. I really want to emphasize that this is a highly functional document for Wyckoffians, and we'll show you why, like right now.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. All these blue things are clickable, so you can click on them and get a live chart. We're going to cover that in a minute. But here we have the indices, and we're using the index equivalent ETFs, SPY, Qs, diamonds, IWM. And the reason we do that is because everybody gets volume with that. Some things on TD Ameritrade don't have volume. Some things on StockCharts don't have volume. So for Wyckoffians, the interaction of price and volume, very important. And we compare these things in a relative strength concept, which is huge in the world of Wyckoff. Professor Bruce, how important is relative strength in the world of Wyckoff?
Well, I believe that relative strength is, and I've said this in the past, it's X-ray vision. It's like our secret strength, our secret power, and that is to be able to apply relative strength to these market studies, whether it be industry groups, sectors, individual stocks, and we'll see more about that in a minute. But I just think it's all important. It's everything. It's next to price in terms of importance, but it is only second to price.
It's the closest thing to cheating you're going to get.
Yes,
that's my opinion.
Yeah, I love
so here
that.
We have the indices. We go on to the sector spiders. We also take a look at the industry groups. StockCharts has 104 industry groups available that I'm aware of. Perhaps there's more, but these are the 104 that I work with. And we scan for top and bottom performance so that you know what the top performers are and what the bottom performers are. So within a couple of minutes, you can ground yourself to how the indices are performing, how the sectors are performing, and how the industry groups top and bottom are performing.
So, and there's just a great example of top down, it's like, working your way down into, ever tighter corners of the market where you're just going from broad view to sector view to industry groups. And I spend a lot of time in industry group analysis. So I'm very excited about this.
Now, if you want to go right to dessert, you can. And that is the Wyckoff event summary and event scanning. So something that we're doing that's a little different than what other folks do is we're actually analyzing the markets in terms of Wyckoff events. The four main events that we're talking about are springs and last points of support, upthrust backups, breakdowns, have some LPSs and LPSYs and UTADs all mixed in there. And this is the product of the scans that have been developed to survey the marketplace. Now, we don't survey all stocks. We're really interested in institutional level stocks. So the Dow, the S&P 500, NASDAQ, NDX, and SP 400 don't do a lot in the small cap area, but the mids and the large we have covered pretty well. And these descriptions give you a little bit about what the scans are looking for. There's some diagrams that show where points of interest are. And then we move actually into the lists of events that are present that week. And we do up to 50 on the report pages itself. If there's less, then there's just blank space on the page. However, up to 50 for other types of events where the number is greater than 50 and wouldn't fit on one page. But we do give you access to all of the data returns via the data tables. So if you click the data table box, you're going to get the actual spreadsheets with every scan return. So if we take a look at what we've done here.
And of course, this is really great because by looking at the events, it's a form of breadth analysis. And so you know how important breadth analysis is in it because we talk about it all the time here in power charting. Mm-hmm. And so breadth is really, really important to us in terms of determining the health of the underlying market at a point in time. So this is super exciting to do this.
And there's Professor Bruce's blogs on all of these points, but in the Wyckoff world, a spring is a form of interaction with support, reversal up off of support or even below support. Upthrusts are interactions with resistance that can be positive, they can be accumulation in nature, but they can also be distributed in nature. In this particular upthrust, we're looking a little bit more towards interaction with overhead resistance that fails. Backups, here we're looking at breakouts that have held their price above prior resistance. So they've broken out and in the world of Wyckoff backed up, which essentially in its simplest concept is acceptance of price at a higher level. Breakdowns, just like what they sound like. So what we're looking to do is develop a record of events in the market, and can they give us diagnostic qualities, breadth qualities? So far, we're looking pretty good in this area. So for example, as the market has degraded, we see that we're fewer springs down to 12. But by the same token, look at what's happened at the breakdown level. We've gone from 96 all the way up to 308. So fewer reversals off support, more breakdowns down and through support to newer, lower price levels. So that's the kind of neat Wyckoffian thing that we've got going on there. But let's take a look at one of the interesting features here. All of the blue names, they're all live links. So if you press that, click that, you're going to get the chart. So here's the chart here. And this is the Russell. We can do that with SPY. And see, we get volume. We've got on-balance lines here showing what the balance of volume has done. This is relative strength to VTI, outperforming VTI a bit, but not a ton. And here's our scooter line showing that the relative strength is going down in the way that StockCharts analyzes relative strength.
A quick look at the IWM again, keeping in mind this SPY chart, everybody. And so if you look at this, you can see the test last week of the late January low that occurred with a very bullish reversal bar on that low test day. And then since then, the Russell is rallying. You can also see to the IWM that the relative strength is in a rising trend really throughout the whole month of February. And the this has the characteristics of something that might be on a minor scale, some kind of an accumulation type structure for a better rally up into overhead resistance. So we're not willing to say that it's a significant low, but it could be an important trading low, swing trading low. And then look at the scooter at the bottom data set and how it's turning up. So there's just so much to see and tell just by clicking on that chart. It's just, there's so much a Wyckoffian can conclude from this just by going through and looking at these indexes and comparing them to each other.
Absolutely. And we do show you the rate of change over 5 periods, essentially 1 trading week, 13 weeks, week ago, 1 week back, what was the 13-week doing? And then 39 weeks. So we're roughly at 3/4 of price action on a 39-week look back, and 13 weeks is essentially a quarter. More of an institutional perspective on time, thinking in quarters as opposed to days or minutes. We do that with the sector spiders also. So here you can see what's outperformed very recently. And of course, everything was down on the rendering of this report, but longer term, you can see, for example, XLE has outperformed over 3/4 and of course, 1/4 high performance also. But
So
look at
you can
everything
see
else.
you can see right there by the order of the sectors in that list, what has performed best over the last 5 trading periods. And then also you can look at the 13 and the 39 over time also. And so that's just fantastic. And of course, the fact that utilities are on the top of that list and energy is number 3 really shows the defensive nature of the market at this time, because it's the defensive sectors that are bubbling to the top. So just a thought on that.
Sure, absolutely. Utilities, real estate, REITs, inflation adjusted rents, energy, of course, a little bit crazy in the world right now. Energy is doing some interesting things. Staples, a traditional bastion of conservative investing. And look at how interesting that is. Little spring action here.
Look at the relative
strength.
Beautiful uptrend in the relative strength. I mean, just clicking on and looking at that one chart, there's just a richness of information for a Wyckoffian there.
Exactly. And then on the industry groups, aluminum's really been leading quite significantly. Coal.
Look at that. Yeah, coal, oil, U.S. integrated
A lot of oil.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. Gold miners is bubbling to the top.
Yeah. Good day to day on oil. So these are live charts that will take you through the week. The nice thing about the setup of the letter is that you can go back and revisit it time after time. And because the charts refresh live, it's really like having new information at your fingertips all week. And then, of course, on Fridays, you get the new version. So very, very interesting there.
Okay, so in the time we have left, why don't we look at some stock lists?
Absolutely. So
yeah,
springs are events surrounding the interaction of price and support. It could be right below prior support, in which event it's a true spring, or it could be a formation above support that provides us the ability to go higher in the future. So certainly with a troubled world right now, we see maybe defense as an area. And here we have a spring that was detected by the scans. And this scan was run some time ago. So there's a fair chunk of price action in here that you would catch by looking for springs. What do you think of that one, Professor?
Well, it's fantastic. You look at the relative strength there and you can see the mid-February low in the relative strength is above the mid-December low. So that's a positive confirmation. And you can see that the LDOS went slightly lower in February on price, unconfirmed by relative strength. The other thing about a spring is that a good confirmed spring will do exactly what the stock is doing, which is it goes absolutely vertical, because the last event with a good spring is some kind of a shakeout low, and then the stock is in really strong hands, and that creates a shortage of supply of shares, which creates that vertical lift. So that's a really good example, John.
Here we have the upthrust. Now, upthrust is some form of interaction with overhead resistance. And the way that this report is set up, upthrusts are things that we're looking for to reverse back into a structure. We can learn a lot by simply looking at the components. Look at all the financials in here and discretionary. A couple of energies, but mainly discretionary financials. And we really should be able to click on any chart and see something that has come off a recent high. That's essentially an upthrust. Interacted with resistance, came back down. So here's Carnival Cruise Line. Look at the on-balance volume lines pointing down. The 50s below the 200. We have a downward slope on the longer term for relative strength, and the scooter just took a dive below its moving average. So all kinds of things.
Yeah.
No, but
June a year ago,
yeah.
A high, which is an upthrust, and then lower high in September, lower high in November, lower high in February. I mean, this is really a kind of a difficult chart.
Yeah. So we take a look at a banking stock. Here's Bank of America, huge company. And we see a recent high at 50.11 down to the 45 neighborhood, dipping down on all lines. The 50 still above the 200, the flattening out on the slope of that line, but the relative strength, scooter, and OBV all give us a little bit of a dark picture there in terms of performance.
Yeah.
So
the OBV, which I've been a fan of forever, and John's actually giving me some new appreciation for different ways to look at it, and I'm really grateful for that. But also in February, note the lower high in the OBV from the early January high, which often will precede important weakness. So to see an uptrend go to a non-confirmation to a downtrend, not uncommon.
Here is our breakouts / backups. A very important Wyckoffian feature is to move above resistance and hold there. Even if we slide back a little bit, we're respecting the breakout. So here's Royal Gold, and we see we had a breakout, and there's our backup, and we're out again.
Yeah.
Part of the way we organize the list is that you get the most relevant, strongest things or most important feature-rich charts at the start of the list. If you go to the other end of the list, it could paint a different picture. So here we have a breakout that has really come back quite a bit, a little bit more than we'd like to see.
So there's an awful lot. There's an awful lot to think about for just in the order of the stocks in the list.
Right. And you can think of the individual chart element list as dessert. If you want to go for dessert first, boom, check out your breakouts. Check out your
just do that all
springs.
the time.
Yeah.
But mainly when I go to dinner.
So breakdowns are
About
areas.
Minute and a half left, but keep going. Show us more.
So this is one of your favorites, Professor. What's going on with this chart? So we're looking for breakdowns, things that have gone down and through support. So arguably support was in this 197, 200 area, and traditional head and shoulders type formation there. But in the world of Wyckoff, a large cause being built, crashed well through support there. And look at this perfect test from below and back down. Look at these lines, everybody pointing down.
By the way, that late January low produced a second LPSY, which went up and matched the early January peak, lower high, obviously, from November. But that is one of the questions I'm asking about the indexes right now is, can we get a second LPSY, and will it rally up in a similar manner? And ALB might be an analog to that. It could very well be that we're starting reaccumulation, but this is one of the events that I'm highly sensitive to. And of course, we'll talk more about this on power charting in the future.
And the greatest number of events that we were able to catalog on the week with the breakdowns.
Okay, we got 20 seconds left. John, take us home.
Fantastic. Well, thanks everybody for watching. I really hope that you enjoy the newsletter. Should you elect to subscribe to it, it is available through Wyckoff Analytics.
Hey guys, Dave Keller here with StockCharts.com. Thanks so much for watching our video. If you enjoyed it, and we hope you did, hit the like button right below. Also, we have so much new content every day. Consider subscribing to the channel. Just hit the subscribe button in the video or right below. Thanks for watching. Stay safe. Have a fantastic day.